Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages, dogs, cats, anything in the near around vicinity. This Wednesday, so you know what time it is. It's the Bold Prediction Sports Media Podcast, and as tradition, he's Mr. KC. I'm that dude with the beard, and we here, and it's the wild card. It's the playoffs. It's the playoffs.
Playoffs.
It's the playoffs.
We talking playoffs?
Playoffs. You want to talk about playoffs,
Playoffs.
man?
Ooh, for some of y'all, this isn't this isn't for your team. This is for other people's teams. But don't worry about it. We'll make sure after the playoffs we talk off season, do the draft stuff, fix your team again, get it back organized like we like to do. But for right now, we gotta talk a little playoffs. Little
It,
playoff action.
He's not lying. It's just what it is, and like you said, we'll do it like we did last year. And some of these teams, took our advice inadvertently, or maybe they got somebody work for the staff who done watched it, but they threw the dynamite in a couple of these front offices, and they blowing that thing up. Recent firings, even think about Atlanta. They just got rid of their coach. Ron Rivera's out. Mike Vrabel's out, and the surprise of the day, dude, Pete Carroll and what I call a soft firing. I mean, he's just moving to an advisor role, but dude,
So
that was completely unexpected.
Nick Saban leaving too. I mean, almost expected, but still just uh, big news that it's actually at least happened. It's going to cause a ripple effect in college football because someone's going to need to take the big Alabama job, and whoever's taking that is probably leaving a pretty decent job as it is.
Yeah, for sure. Or, maybe they try to get somebody from within to kind of, keep the culture that Nick Saban's got there. But, dude, it's going to be hard to fill them kind of shoes. But shout out to Nick Saban, probably the best collegiate career as coaching we've ever seen. Just shout out to him. Everything he's done for that program going forward and the culture that he set up here. We'll see if they can live up to it now.
Yeah, there's a lot of spots that it seems like there's going to be some big shoes to replace. If you think about it, between college and the pros, there's a lot of maybe Belichick still steps down. You don't know where he's going to end up, or if he stays or if he goes. There's just a lot of coaching carousel going on right now. It seems like.
Or maybe he decided to take some collegiate action on for a little bit. He go coach Alabama.
There's been talk of Alabama's one of those jobs where you could get a NFL coach to say, you know what, I might step down for a little bit and go coach a little college football. I mean, we saw Harbaugh do it recently and have success with it. He just won the national championship this year with Michigan, and probably will be coming back to the pros to avoid any
Oh
trouble.
yeah,
But
he's out of there. Yeah, that's why I said
yeah,
the Michigan asterisk national championship. Any other team that's of quality would have beat them, and we saw it by watching this whole playoff. It was probably the worst college playoff since they've started the whole thing. I've seen a lot of disappointed fans, but like I said, asterisks next to it. They cheated the whole way through. We'll see what happens once everything's litigated. But as of now, congratulations. At least it came to the Big Ten. But
yeah,
hate
it
that it
is
came
nice
like
to
this.
see. I think it's nice to see non-SEC teams like actually compete for something. So we always
Right.
got to shout that out. Even though Mizzou's in the SEC now, it's still a funky statement to say, and it's just you hate to see when it gets dominated by one division so heavy. So it is
Right.
nice to see it just not be SEC at least for 1 year for
At least for
once.
1 year, man. Goodness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, that's why I be wanting Ohio State to get back. We the only ones that seem like we can break the SEC curse. You gotta break that thing, man.
Mhm.
Good night. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're about to get into it. Just straight on into it. Like I said, it's the playoffs, and dude, it's Saturday. We're relegated to Saturday, but that's a whole nother story. But the prime time is this. But let's talk about the very first game here. We got the Cleveland Browns, Big Flacco, going against my boy CJ Stroud from the Ohio State University and the Houston Texans. And dude, this game is probably going to be really good. Um, I don't see a total domination really on either side. It's almost maybe a shootout, dude. Um, I'm gonna lean toward Big Flacco though, and the Browns just because the defense is better on that end. But like I said, we've seen that Browns defense go down plenty of times too, so it's not like they're unbeatable. But I think Big Flacco's trying to go up there and holler at Big Trust for the real Baltimore revenge banger. Like I got to go with the Browns because I think that's how the storyline's trying to shape itself.
Yeah, and I see your point there. There's a lot of things that point to Joe Flacco and the Browns winning. If they win, they get to play the Ravens next week, and we know that's just got storyline after storyline written all over it. And shout out to Joe Flacco for doing anything that involves the storyline. We haven't
Man,
really seen that from Flacco for years. It's been years. When he originally got paid, he was done.
you haven't seen it for
And,
Cleveland ever, so shout out to
in
Cleveland. Y'all
Cleveland.
finally making headlines, making headway for the right reasons instead of another 0 and or 2 and whatever season talking about you firing a coach and throwing the dynamite in the front office again. At least y'all willing to blow it up till you get it right. So I give y'all that amount of respect. But shout out to Cleveland just for being in the meter right now. Big Kareem out there with Big Flacco. We'll see what they can do.
Well, I think just like the Deshaun Watson trade, I think the Texans are going to win this. They are going to they're going to actually win this game. People are kind of underestimating what the Texans have done this year, how competitive the AFC South has been overall, and I think this just has that upset potential. As crazy as it is they're the home team, right? They're the number four, they're the higher seed, but somehow, some way, are slightly underdogs in a lot of
Yeah.
people's minds. And I just think CJ Stroud is he's gonna be here to compete in the NFL for a long time, I believe. As a rookie, look at him, about to win his first playoff game.
Ooh, so you're going with the Texans then?
The
Texans over the
Texans.
Browns? And
Texans over the Browns.
I'm right there with you in spirit, man. I just think the big Flacco situation is gonna happen because it makes either way. They both are a great story, but the big Flacco it almost makes for a little better story because it's got that revenge element. But
I
like you
mean,
said, dude, I'm a believer in CJ Stroud. I'm forever a Texan on the back burner because I'm always a Chief. But I'm a Texan on the back
right.
burner because CJ Stroud is my boy, dude. He, like I said, in a year or two, he's going to be unquestioned the second best quarterback in the NFL because I don't know if he's going to ever be able to take it from Pat while Pat is still doing Patrick Mahomes esque type things. So we got to just live with those factors. It's like when I used to play Halo with my homeboys back in the day. They always knew I was going to win, so they used to just who they're fighting to come in second at that point.
Right.
So that's how it is with this. But yeah, man, big CJ, shout out to him.
Yeah,
Um,
but you're right. It does have that. If Disney's going to write the playoffs, if they're going to write their storyline to the playoffs, there's a lot of it that would point to the Ravens, or no, excuse me, the Browns winning this game.
oh yeah, like I said, they want a good story throughout the whole entire playoff. That's what I said. If you really look at it, and we'll go over it as we go through the card. And you heard me call it a card because it's almost like when I be watching wrestling, just
Mm,
looking at the matchup. Dude, all of these games are rematches, and all of these games are well, heavy stake because it's the playoffs, but I mean, even like almost a respect factor, it is like lined up in some of these games. So I mean, it's kind of heavy. We're gonna talk about it as we go. Not as much as this game between the two teams, but just for the storyline with Joe Flacco and the Browns. But as we go forward, we'll talk about it. We're really about to dive into it. Let's just get on to the real game of Saturday. Unless you got anything else you want to touch on with these Browns and the
No, I
Texans.
think we hit that pretty good. You know, shout out to both teams. I think it's a great way to kick off the playoff weekend with that. Those kind of it is really two franchises that neither one really had a lot of people picking them to make the playoffs. You know, so
I know I
shout
didn't
out to
pick those
them.
Browns, but I
And
know
I'm
we was
not hearing
always on
me
that
either.
Texan train.
Yeah, and more you than me on the Texans. You know, I thought it was a lot of unknown, a lot of potential there. But I'll get you. You can watch the preseason picks. You know, their record is pretty spot on by you. You know,
Yeah.
you called them a playoff team before anyone else. People said, "Well, who saw that coming?" I was like, "Well, actually, I witnessed it. Someone
He said, I
saw
saw
it
it
coming."
happen
But
live.
yeah, I was here for that. So I do remember it. So if you want to fact check that, please go out to the I don't think there's a dedicated Houston Texans video. I think you actually have to go to the AFC South video and find it in there because well, I didn't put a lot of respect on their name. I'm going to be honest.
It's all good though. He's gained a lot of respect, and that's all we can ask for Mr. Casey, man, to give a good quarterback evaluation when there's no
Mm.
bias involved. Because because we know what happens when bias involved. We'll talk about that with a team and a certain quarterback later on. Let's move into the Saturday night game, the prime time Peacock exclusive for the first time in NFL history. The Slamma Jamma, Thank You Mama rematch of an earlier game this season. Two teams coming in at 11-6. We have the Miami Dolphins, the Squanderers, as I call them, fins down, Mr. KC's team, versus
Mm.
what I call the wax, baby. The champs. You gotta come to the wax if you want to win. The Kansas City Chiefs playoff Project Pat. The dude y'all always hear me
Mm.
talk about Project Pat. They gotta see him this weekend. Project Pata, track piece, dime pizza. That's what I'm saying. They gotta come and see the man this
Mister,
weekend.
drop a couple pieces on you.
I'm trying to tell you, cheese
Man,
like pancake.
you
Mm-hmm.
don't want to
It's
see Harrison but kicker.
right. You don't. But going into it here, storyline written all over it. Um, and semi on both sides. They try to make a case for Miami, Tyreek Hill. I don't know what they will call a revenge game for him because he's got everything he wanted out of the
Right.
deal that he transpired. So, on more of that side, it's just a media thing. I think it's more along the lines of Miami trying to prove that they can beat another good team this season because they only done it once. But if you look at Kansas City side, this is where you shatter all the noise and all the quiet. This is where all of a sudden everybody can catch. We're starting to see glimpses. Maybe McCole Hardman, Mr. KC's semi quarterly high on. Maybe we'll see more out of him. Maybe we'll see more out of Watson. Maybe we'll finally get to see Justin Ross. And hopefully, the one thing I know we agree on, we don't want to see 11 or 24.
Mm.
So we just got to go what we go with, and this is going to be the first step of Project Pat playoff resume. Unless these other things shake out, we could have another Arrowhead Invitational. But I'm gonna let Mr. Casey touch on some of this before I dive to my next point. Mr. Casey, tell us why you think the fans are gonna get the win, because I'm assuming that's where
Well,
you're going.
no, I can't go there. It's impossible for the Dolphins to win in cold weather. Let me explain it to you like this, folks. If you don't know Mr. Casey personally, I lived in the Kansas City area for decades, and I currently live in Florida, in the southern Florida area, where it's nice and warm, just like the Miami Dolphins, where they enjoy it being nice and warm. To break it down to you, I'm wearing a hoodie. It's indoors. It is 65 degrees, and it is absolutely required that I'm wearing a hoodie. I'm wearing a hoodie and I'm cold. Outside is 55 degrees, and I have a Carhartt sweats and a hoodie on because there is a light wind, so it's cold. Okay, it is full blown winter time here at night. Okay, we're struggling to hit 70. Okay, so just imagine
Must be nice.
what it would be like going to what are y'all looking at, negative nothing? Is
We'll
that what
we'll
y'all?
be yeah we'll be in a little place I like to call limbo on Saturday. You're so cold to the point where you're not dead, but you're not really alive. You're just kind of floating there. That's how cold it's gonna be. Like the ultimate consciousness. You can everything is just so clear. you just There's just one fact is that you are absolutely freezing, and that just shatters everything in reality. That's how
look
cold it's gonna be.
Look, Tua Tagovailoa is a
I can't
decent
wait.
quarterback. He's an okay quarterback, but let's not forget that he's from Hawaii,
Hmm.
which is a whole state of tropical wonderfulness. And then
Man,
after
played in
after pl-
Alabama.
yeah, played in Alabama, which is another southern state. Probably gets a little cold there. Not Kansas City cold, but a
Right.
little cold. And
Right.
since then, he's moved to Miami, where it is typically 75, 80
Sunshines and
degrees right
rainbows.
now. Yeah.
Right.
And the ideal that he's going to go towards nothing. There is a temperature of nothing outside, maybe even less than nothing, and be
Yeah, that's
successful. Look, there's just it's not. I feel bad for them. Like I don't think I'm way poorer than they are by absolute leaps and bounds, and I can't imagine how much money it would take for me to go to Kansas City this weekend and just watch this game in person. Just go to the stadium. You know how much that would take for me personally just to watch. I enjoy watching it. It's obviously the highlight of the year, and it would have to be a free flight, free
right.
tickets, and like some serious cash in my pocket to go deal with negative no nothing temperature right now. Like
Yeah.
uh, I
Because at
just
the end of the day, you might be able to get you at this point because it's gonna be so cold. I know some season fans still won't go because it's just that cold. Because we live here in Kansas City, y'all, and it is bitter brisk. I mean, you remember them old brisk commercial when they used to
mm,
hit the brisk, and,
mm,
like they all of a sudden on the mountaintop, breathing good. Like that's what it is. It's trifling. And it ain't gonna get no better because we've already endured one snowstorm this week, and we have another one
mm.
setting in on Friday itself. So it's going to be treacherous, and Miami has absolutely no chance of being mentally prepared for this cold that's about to happen. Like they should have been here last week. They should have
Look,
skipped their last game. Should have came last week and tried to get ready.
to explain the difference is in Kansas City they canceled school because there was a snow and a blizzard.
Oh yeah,
Here in Florida they canceled school yesterday because it was extra windy. So that's where we're at, folks. Okay. Weather-wise, us
uh,
Floridians are just not made for that Kansas City
no.
weather at this time of the year.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, they not ready for that Midwest cold. You say because it was windy. We would never, never. What?
never windy,
I
bro.
remember being on the
Windy,
bus stop. It's so windy, dude. All your clothes about to peel off your skin. Like you, ooh, man,
windy.
just but we're saying that to say this, folk, that it's going to be treacherous weather. Playoff Pat, Project Pat, he's a snow game guy, as you heard him say.
Mm,
When the snow happens, he thinks he's Lamar Jackson. So that's the most dangerous Patrick Mahomes, one of the top
mm.
three dangerous Patrick Mahomes we ever seen. You heard him after the He said, "Did I look like Lamar?" He did to me. He was getting it in.
He did.
Uh,
Little
I
bit.
got the Chiefs in this one, and I got them heavy, dude. I really think
Yeah.
this is a blowout. I think this is a statement win. Like, yeah, It was a terrible. It was a rocky season. Not even really terrible. Terrible by our standards because of what we seen the product used to be. But actually pretty great. 11-6. Probably really have the best defense in the NFL. And once Project Pat steps in, number one in everything, this team is gonna roll, dude. They're gonna roll.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm excited for this game. It'll be a fun one to watch. Be very, very entertaining in my opinion. And obviously, we're both Chiefs fans, going to get Chiefs homer takes or whatever. But man, it's a scary team to be
No, they
playing in the
right.
playoffs. You never want to play Kansas City in the playoffs. Is all I'm going to say.
No, and that's all it is. And like I said, this ain't a big shout out to you, Miami, because I didn't even have you making the playoffs. So big shout out to y'all. Y'all made it here. It's nothing to sneeze at. You could have won the East, but in classic Miami fashion, you bumbled it. Like I'm just saying, be happy with who y'all are. Like now, y'all are a perennial playoff team, but you're still gonna be the bumbling bumblers. And that's just pretty much it. Tuna on some crackers, man.
Mm,
Good night, man. I'm sorry. Mr. Casey, anything else you want to add on before we move to what I feel like is the upset of the wild card weekend?
I think we need to get on this upset because I'm feeling it too, actually.
All right. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Buffalo Bills. And in my opinion, this has upset written all over it because they didn't want the Steelers to be there. They wasn't expecting the Steelers to be there. Nobody on the planet besides me and maybe Mike Tomlin knew that this would happen, or maybe a few people in Pittsburgh, the insiders. But I keep telling you, when the Steelers in town, you need to close your doors. You need to lock your
Mm,
windows because there's not a temperature they can't play in. There's not a team that they scared of, dude. They're like the mini Ravens, dude. Like, dude, they will come and kick your teeth in if you let them. And I think Buffalo is just the team to let them do it. They've exasperated all their good wins. Josh Allen played like trash in the last win, and if he carries that over to a team that's already beat them, like I said, dude, all these games are revenge. It's rematches, dude. Like I said, I got Pittsburgh. Honestly, just straight up and down. I got Pittsburgh. I like Pittsburgh in this game. I think they find a way to win. I think Mike Tomlin gets a good story for this offseason. Like I said, keep his job intact, kind of silence the fans a little bit, and you put the Josh Allen narrative to bed all in one weekend, dude. I'm going with the Steelers.
And it has upset written all over it. All, all over it. Look, a lot of people are going to question it and doubt it. We've seen it this season already. This matchup is round two, and we've seen it. Look, we've seen it. This is absolutely possible. I'm going to put a couple units on the Steelers as a heavy underdog
Man.
just because this is Vegas's upset. This is how they make money. This is how we make money. Hopefully, right? The Bills could win.
Yeah,
The
they could.
The Josh Allen Bills are a hot team. They've went from completely out of the playoffs to the second
Number
seed.
two.
But that's a very story-esque of the Bills. That's very typical. This is
Hmm.
kind of what they do. So I
Yeah.
like the give me the Steelers upset. People are not gonna. They're oh, this is gonna be when Josh Allen, the hype train drops a little bit because they're gonna get reminded of games like this.
Right. And at the end of the day, dude, it's just about who's going to come out and play in the better. And I like the coaching matchup in this one. I'll take Mike Tomlin any day of the week. What they saying, twice on Saturday or whatever
Mm,
they want to call it.
right.
Dude, there's just only certain things that you can continue to repeat. And until Buffalo finally watches an episode on our show and throws the dynamite into that front office, you're pretty much not going to be anything, dude. I know y'all love this man to death. But Josh Allen, I don't think he's not going to be the guy to do it for you. I don't believe it, dude. He's Andrew Luck esque. But he's Philip Luck, Pennington. Like I don't know how many names you can give. Like, dude, he's a guy who can, like I said, he'll light it up, but at the same time stink it up. And it's just a blessing that they won that game last week. As terrible as he played, but at the end of the day, they still won. But you can't play that kind of game against Pittsburgh and win, no matter who play quarterback for Pittsburgh, because Mike Tomlin finds a way.
Absolutely, absolutely, and this maybe will help his coach of the year resume, in my opinion.
Man, because we sure think it should be him, but we'll see, man. You know they like D'Amico Ryans in that Texan situation, but dude, if Pittsburgh beat the Bills this weekend, I don't see how you don't make Mike Tomlin Coach of the Year, because this is America media's darlings. Though you know they just love the Bills. Like I don't get why, but they do. Like the last 6 years, they just love the Bills, and they haven't done anything to deserve that
I
kind of
don't get why,
notoriety.
but they do.
But mm-mm-mm.
Yeah,
So
it's
there's that.
pretty. It's it happens every season. It's repeat and repeat. It reminds you of the Chargers almost. You know, we just keep hearing the same excuse and story over and over again.
But at least they finally lit the dynamite and threw it in the front office, and boom,
Yeah.
they making something happen. So we both, it sounds like we both got the Steelers in this, and we're moving on to the next game, which will be the final. I would say upset of Wild Card Weekend, because only a few people are going to be upset. We have the Jordan Love led Green Bay Packers versus the Dallas Cowboys. And like I always said, I knew Dallas would be here at this point, but we're going to get playoff Dak. And we haven't seen playoff Jordan Love yet, but I've seen enough of Jordan Love to know that he can come in and beat the Cowboys, especially because Arizona did it. He can come in and beat the Cowboys, especially, dude, I ain't got to go down the list of all the teams that Dallas lost to that they should have beat. But there's nobody on the planet who can really sit here and tell me that this is a runaway for Dallas. And if you are saying it's just purely out of fandom, I got the Packers. This is the second. Y'all gonna be upset, dude. I got the Packers and that underrated defense versus divisional Dak.
Mm. Meow, 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 meow. No upset alert here, folks. I'm going Cowboys. This man is wild. Uh, you gotta uh, you gotta give him props for being bold. The Cardinals
I nailed the last
beat a
one.
few teams. You know, they beat a few teams they were not supposed to. I just don't think Jordan Love has enough around him to have this be a fair game. That Cowboys defense is things of quarterback nightmares. I feel this is a very comfortable win by the Cowboys. I feel very safe in the pick of the Cowboys. Um, Dude with the beard will be pretty much alone on his pick. So if you do have the Green Bay Packers winning this game, you are among elite crowd. You're a dude.
Well,
You're a duder.
it is what it is. I know last time Dallas played Green Bay, they lost. That's all that resonates in my mind. So there ain't no reason why they'll see him again and couldn't lose again. Like I said, this is as much as I like Dak Prescott, because I do like him. You know it. I've advocated for him plenty of occasions, but I know what he does in the playoffs, and I'm just trying to see how this weekend's going to be different than the other weekends. So if somehow he can pull together maybe the game of his life, does he muster it all up and waste it on Green Bay and then get blown the next week? Or is he going to go ahead and take his stripes now and let Jordan Love lead his Packers to the next round in the playoffs? Like I said,
I think
uh,
we're gonna see a Cowboys 49ers NFC Championship game. You
I
know, it's
don't,
got
and
the
I would hope not. So we can see the Cowboys lose again. They it's just they
yeah.
can't beat the Niners, And the Niners aren't even good enough, honestly, to deserve to be in the NFC Championship game.
Well, yeah, they are. They're gonna
They're
host it.
not, dude. Like I said, dude, they're the paper champions. They, like I said, they've had the paper championship the last 6 years. They've always
Mm.
had the best roster the last 6 years, the best defense the last 6 years, the best offense the last 6 years, the most innovation by a coach the last 6 years. No
Mm.
rings. So
Yeah.
yeah, they can tell me all the tall tales. We can see all the highlights of them beating up on the bums and the Cowboys. I'm still what they say. They used to say, "Color me impressed." I'm not impressed. I'm just still not impressed. I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm just not. Sorry, San Fran. We'll get to y'all soon enough. But yeah, I like Green Bay in this game. To get back to the original statement, Green Bay all day.
Yeah, and it'll be a fun one to watch. This is that what do they call this? The Mike McCarthy Bowl. You kind of deciding a lot of old versus new Green Bay heritage there. So
Yeah.
it's a good. I feel like it's a good NFC Sunday
Revenge game.
game. Playoff game. It's a good playoff game in my opinion.
Yeah. And like I said, a slight revenge game, but it'd be revenge for the Packers, saying we got one Super Bowl out you, and then nothing else but mediocrity. And
Yeah,
now
it
you
is.
done went down here.
And as much as I would just love to pick Jordan Love and the Packers to win, I'm just forced to go with the Cowboys.
I understand. I completely get it. Um, I'm just not gonna do it. But yeah, I'm
Mm.
completely with you on the why part, though. I can understand. But shout out to Jordan Love. Like I said, man, preseason. Like I said, I just had to see what you could do, man. And you've almost proved me right that I knew you was gonna be pretty good. Not you're not great yet, but you're not bad. And that's the label that I want people to get off of you. You're not a bad quarterback.
Well, he's
Because
not
now
bad,
you wouldn't be sitting at 9-8. You wouldn't be in the playoffs, and you wouldn't have beat Patrick Mahomes this season. No
especially with
way.
that roster. It's not a great team. He doesn't have a lot around him, so
That's what I'm
I'll,
saying.
I'll shout out Jordan Love for that.
Thank you, Mr. Casey. I appreciate you doing that. I know how hard it
Mm.
was, but yeah, for sure. All right, folks. That's the 3:30. That's the afternoon Sunday game. We're gonna move into the Sunday night slamma jamma. Thank you, Mama. And most people will probably say this would be an upset S type game, but in my opinion, dude, I think that the team with the lesser record is the better team. I got we have the Los Angeles Rams versus the Detroit Lions. And
Mm.
I would be remiss to say that I don't think that the Rams uh ain't prepared for this, dude. Like I really believe the Rams win this game. They're probably, if not the hottest team in the NFL, they're like one or two. Like I said, it's the Matt Stafford coming back to Detroit game. Tell you, yeah, y'all ain't made the offs in a minute. Yeah, you're looking at the other side, drink off, man. This the dude who took my job and went and won a Super Bowl. I got his job, and I'm just not getting him to the playoffs. I like Stafford and the Rams. I like the coaching advantage. I like the quarterback advantage.
It's,
I
it's
like how hungry the team is. I just LA is in my mind, and really, if you just with the eye test, are in a better situation to win this game.
Yeah, and if the Lions had La Pocha or whatever, La Pera or whatever that tight end rookie
Yeah,
sensation tight end's name is, um, I'd feel a little better. I believe he got hurt in the last week of the game. I really want to pick the Lions here. I'm
I
picking the
know you do,
Lions.
because ladies and gentlemen, not to cut him off, if anybody's been outside of somebody's window in the middle of a
Mm,
thunderstorm holding a boom box, it's been Mr. KC in Detroit just looking at these lines like, come on. I've
come
been
on.
waiting for I seen he's risked the factor. He's seen that potential. Let me say I see potential when I see you. Mr.
Mm.
KC, if any y'all need to give this man some respect, Lions fans, because I mean, outside of him, and I mean the last 2 years, outside of this man, there wasn't too many supporters. Only until y'all
Mm.
caught that little hot streak this year. But he's been seeing y'all. Give this man his flowers. But yeah, that's all I want to say.
It's,
You go
and
back to what you're saying though.
yeah, and this is another one of those games with a ton of storylines, back and forth, back and forth. They traded Golf for Stafford. Is who's going to win that trade? It's almost it's in the early part of that. It's easy to say Stafford and the Rams won that trade, right? They got their
Man,
Super Bowl out of it, and blah 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 with that. You can't say
right.
they lost if you got a Super Bowl ring. But this might be the Lions' chance to say, you know what, we may have lost our Hall of Fame type quarterback to the Rams, and he needed to move on, but we've got a future with golf. We actually won a playoff game for the first time in 35 years, or whatever crazy stat it is, whatever
Made the
ridiculous 40.
playoffs. Not not
Yeah.
not even one, but made it too. Something that Matt Stafford could never do with y'all. And he had
Uh,
Megatron with him.
yeah. Yeah. You want to talk about a Lions great? If Jared Goff beats Matt Stafford, you got to put Jared Goff in the Ring of Honor for the
You do.
Lions.
You
If they
there
even
ain't no
do,
doubt. There's
I
no doubt
understand it's
about it
a.
because he's already the fourth best player they've ever had. Already. I'm saying that's how short the list is. Barry Sanders, Matt Stafford, Megatron, Jared Goff.
I mean, it's hard to argue against that at this point. Like, there's just not a lot there. There's just not.
Not a lot
Uh,
there. Dude,
mm,
yeah. But
that's
uh,
sad.
it is. But at the end of the day, uh, dude, like I said, these Rams, they're just so hot, dude. This game should be good. And I wouldn't be surprised if Detroit won. So what's your official pick? What's the official pick for you?
I'm going Lions. I'm picking the
You going
Lions.
there?
I think a lot of money's going to get heavy on the Rams. This might be one of those Vegas phone calls where they're like,
Mm.
hey, hey, we got
Let's do something we ain't
90%.
did in 50 years.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So you gotta, it's got some potential there.
You know what? You might be absolutely right. It might be worth putting a little unit on. I know I'm putting a couple of units on a few of these games, but we'll touch on that here in a second. We'll go back through the games and talk parlays if we got a little more time. Um, but dude, yeah, this game is probably going to be the third most exciting of the weekend so far, in my opinion. I always put the Chiefs up there in the top because we're just fans. But outside of that, just looking at the rest of it, the schedule in general here, this Rams, this game's gonna be good, dude. This
Yeah,
Rams, it's really gonna be good.
I mean that Browns Texans game is going to be good. The
Yeah, that's
Chiefs
the one I have at
Dolphins
seven.
game has got stars written all around it. I mean Rams Detroit is a sneaky. It's an underratedly good game. People are gonna not really say a lot about it, but it's going to be a good game.
And it's not no reason why it's prime time because they could have threw Dallas there, but
Mm,
they know Green Bay what they're gonna do to them, so they probably let's just make it 3:30. Go ahead and put these Rams on the prime time. Take down the Lions versus the fucking Detroit Lions. The Rams and Lions. I said the Lions versus the Lions. The Rams versus the Lions, dude. Animal Classic Showdown. But yeah, I'm going Rams prime time. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen. The last game, the Monday night game, the 7 o'clock Slammer Jamboree, the Martin Luther King tribute game. We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Philadelphia Eagles. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Eagles are going to win this game. I know they've been on a terrible, 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 terrible run, looking slouchy and stuff, but I just still believe at their worst, they're still better at Tampa Bay at their best. So
yeah.
I'm gonna go with the Eagles here. This is probably the most sure game that I could pick out the weekend besides the Chiefs over the Dolphins. Um, yeah, it should just it should absolutely be Philadelphia. Now, if they shit the bed, I mean, excuse me, folks, if they mess the bed, like how they've been doing, then it could be a little more competitive. But I still think they win the game even in that situation. So
Well, that's the only thing that makes me nervous about picking the Eagles for this game is I feel like it's such a lock. Like it is. This should be such. This is a playoff team versus a non-playoff team playing each other, right? Like if we're gonna
mhm,
call a spade, let's be serious here. The Bucks have no business in the playoffs. Like they have no business hosting a playoff game. Like this is
mhm,
almost the Bucks being in the playoff is almost disrespectful to the playoffs. Like let's just be honest. But the rules are the rules, and you win your division, you're in. You know,
right,
so we have the Bucks here. This is what the Eagles need in the playoffs. They need the Bucks every week. You know, like they need to beat them this week and play them again next week. Is
right.
what the Eagles really need. But they're only going to get this 1 week, so let's give them this one.
Yeah, that's all they're going to get from me because it doesn't matter who they play in the next round. I believe they'll be going to the crib. Um, like I said, making it this far, like I said, I didn't even think they was going to make the playoffs. So them making it this far is a good enough success for them, I guess. Proved me wrong, but I mean, at the end of the day, the whole country's seeing how terrible you really are. They're probably starting to see
Mm.
what I've been saying that y'all really don't have it. Y'all been the last 2 years benefiting from the easiest schedule in NFL history twice, and you still almost shit them. Excuse me, and you still almost messed the bed toward the end. So I just I think about any other team with that getting that kind of easy schedule. Shoot, the Bears be in the playoffs with that kind of schedule.
Mm.
So there's
There's
that.
some truth to that too, right?
Well, anyway, folks, those are the picks for this playoff wild card weekend. The Slamma Jamma Jamboree. Mr. KC, while we still have a few moments, let's just touch on a couple of games real quick and give the folks some parlay talk here, where
Yeah,
we
hold
would
on.
spend money.
Before we get too deep in the parlay talk, we need to address the elephant in the room, and that is the Super Bowl picks.
Oh,
Because as we know, preseason, Mr. KC here, your host, everyone's favorite host, your favorite white boy, is he picked 49ers Kansas City, and my hopes are still alive. My pick is still alive. And
yes. We talked
unfortunately,
about this a few weeks ago. Yes, it's unfortunate. My pick for the NFC is not even in the playoffs, but they had hope until the last play of
mm,
the last game in the season. But the Seattle Seahawks did not make it. So I'm automatically wrong on my Super Bowl pick because the Seattle Seahawks are not even in the playoffs to compete for it. I had Kansas City, Seattle. And at this point, if I'm looking at the NFC, if I have to pick a new team that I
you
think
got to
is
you got to pick
possibly
a
going
new
to
one.
do it,
We need a new, just like a little lady. She said she need a new baby daddy or whatever.
hmm
We need a new little
you know
boo
what?
thing.
I'm going to go with the Rams. I'm
Oh,
going. I'm gonna pick the Rams, Chiefs, Rams, Super Bowl rematch of a game that happened a few years ago, the highest scoring game in NFL history. Just a little quarterback scenery change. Uh, And I like the way the Rams are playing because I already know Project Pat gonna get these sheets rolling. They're gonna catch fire. The rest is history. I'm gonna go with the Rams
hey,
unless they get
that's
knocked out. Then I have to update. But I'm going with the
right.
Rams. There's
Yeah,
what my
we'll
heart's
just
telling
fix
me.
it every week. We'll just go through fix and get you a new one every week. Look
Hey,
like a little Tinder profile. You just keep swiping on the NFC teams till we get to the end and be like, well, this
because
one,
I don't like
this
none of them. That's why I was.
right.
I
Yeah,
don't like none of them. And I see one, I'm like, I guess maybe that's what
maybe.
maybe we can get a
Seahawks?
sandwich.
No, no, no. Turns
It's
out
all right,
she's.
man. Sometimes you just got to go the bold route. You can't just always choose the easy pick. So it's what it is.
Right, right. Yeah, so let's take a look at these parlays now that we got the official Super Bowl updated picks. I'm sticking with my Niners. Even though if I wanted to change, I feel like this is my opportunity. This is the beginning of the playoffs, so it's enough time to call it a prediction.
Hmm.
This is the updated forecast. You
It's
know,
0-0. The
yeah,
whole
it's a
slate reset.
whole new season basically. If you really want to talk about it, look about it, because you could have had a great year all year, and if you're not healthy right now or something went wrong, all of a sudden, like with the Lions, that tight end
Hey,
going down, it's a big, that's a problem.
Miami
Yeah, we
losing
got a
half their
problem.
defense because
Yeah,
they want to play everybody.
mhm, that's a problem. I don't
Problem.
blame them though, because if they would have won that game, they would have been playing in Miami and not in negative nothing degree Kansas City, where
We call it the
I'm.
wax. When it's just the playoffs, it's the wax. You got to come to the wax, man. You want that candle lit? You need some wax on that wick. You got to come on down, man. You
Mm.
got to
And
come on down. You got to holler at the Potter.
I went to that Chiefs Titans game when it was like negative nothing, and that game was so cold. It was just
Dude,
so
because you got to
miserably.
think about it. The way Giha set up, dude, it ain't nothing
It's
but
all
it's a
concrete.
tsunami.
Yeah, it is. It is just all
That
concrete,
would be
man.
whipping. I'm
It
trying to
is
tell you, it's
cold.
whipping.
Oof, oof.
And nothing but a full circle. I mean, you're feeling that breeze hit you. One time you leaning this way, next time this way. You never know. You go to like I said, make sure you come with your tequila. Make sure you hit
Mm.
your local patronages there in Geehaw. Get you a few beers. You're gonna need that liquor warm up because it's going to be the grittiest of cold. So
Yeah, I know.
there's that.
I had my feet warmers in, and they did not work until we left. When we left and we were driving home, is when the feet warmers was like, all right, you know what? It's warm enough. I can work now. It was too
Right.
cold for the warmers to
For it
activate.
to activate.
Was
Exactly.
they was too cold. Nah, we holler at me when we're not outside.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the first game here, as far as the Cleveland and the Texans, if we were to put a unit down, honestly, on this one, this is kind of the one I would stay away from
Yeah.
because, like I said, it's almost a shootout. It could go either way. I'd recommend not touching it. Mr. KC, if you got a different opinion, tell the folk.
No, I'd like to leave this one off my parlay for the week if I could.
Yes, sir. Um, the Kansas City Miami game. This is a game where you could put a little money on, even though I believe Kansas City should be favored. But
They are.
I would put a small unit on particular player parlay just for this game, and not even a big one, just to put which wide receiver to score a touchdown at any time. I would put Rasheed Rice down because he's got to be the option.
Yeah.
And then whatever else you want to put for the Chiefs to win the game, just a little two legger. Chiefs win, Rasheed Rice score, and I'd leave it alone. I wouldn't do
Yeah.
too much more than that.
And I would take the Chiefs money line. I don't want to give the spread. I don't want to take the spread. I believe it's a 4 point spread. I want to leave the spread alone. I'm just going to take.
Hmm.
You guys know I prefer the money line.
Right,
I just
anytime.
take the win loss, baby. What are we talking? So give me the Chiefs money line on my parlay. I like adding them to the parlay this week.
Yeah, that's what I say. Put a small unit on them. The next game though, Pittsburgh and Buffalo. I'm putting a semi good unit on Pittsburgh to win this game because when I say I'll put a whole unit on this one. I'll put a whole
Yeah.
unit on this for sure. Because just on the off chance that they win this game, not even the off chance. Like I said, this is really the upset alert. Like I said, of the weekend,
Right.
I really feel it. Whatever you put down is gonna net you, and you don't even have to mess with parlays on this thing. You can just go straight money line with this bad boy and get you a few extra dollars.
Yeah, with being such an underdog, I am gonna leave it off my parlay just because I'm only gonna run one parlay. But if I was gonna
Mm,
run two, I would throw them on one. But I'm right there with you. Just bet this one straight up money line with the Steelers winning, and it's if you win, it's a big hit.
man,
It's a parlay hit in itself. So
man,
don't be afraid. D-
don't
Yeah,
be at
don't be
all.
afraid to play it straight up by
Right,
itself. Leave it off my parlay. But it's too risky for a parlay, especially if I'm only running one parlay, and I just would rather just not touch it.
right. The next game, Dallas and Green Bay. Me personally, because like I said, this is not like I said, upset alert part two. You can put a small unit on Green Bay if you're feeling like I'm feeling dude with the beard who's been nailing these upset picks the last few weeks. Might I add, I'd put a unit on Jordan Love them to win this game. I'd even put a parlay to put that Dak Prescott to score throw at least two touchdowns just to even boost it up a little bit.
Mm.
Um, but like I said, this would be the most daring bet of the weekend by far. Just a little three leg, but I would do it on Green Bay, not a whole unit, but or whatever you feel comfortable putting down. If you got it extra, do it. But I'd put a small unit on this for sure.
Yeah, and I'll probably be adding Cowboys to my parlay. It's not going to add me crazy odds, but I feel like it's such a kind of a lock for me, in my opinion, that I feel real nice having it on my parlay.
Mhm. Now, the next game, the Rams in Detroit, I'm going to leave that one alone because I'm invested emotionally in the Rams to win this game. So I wouldn't put too much attention as far as money on it because it could go either way here, even though the Rams are real scrappy. I'd kind of leave this one alone, honestly. Mr. KC?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I don't feel comfortable betting it one way or the other. And I don't want to put it on my parlay, even though I am picking the Lions. I just don't feel confident enough to bet it, if that makes
Exactly.
sense.
No, perfect sense to me. Because that was you see how even though I feel like the Rams are gonna win, like I said, I'm still not gonna touch it. I just
Yeah,
can't
it's
do it.
just that's going to be a good game.
Yeah, excellent game. And this game here, Philadelphia versus Tampa Bay, which, like I said, should be the lock of all playoff games. This is gonna be another one I wouldn't touch, to be perfectly honest with you, because, like I said, I mean, Philadelphia, out of all the teams playing this weekend, is the most likely outside of the Buffalo Bills to what I've been saying all night to crap the bed. Like I can
Mm.
really see it happen, but at the same time, I could see Philadelphia rolling up these Buccaneers and throwing them back out to see where they belong. So it's just it's too much for me to touch. I'd leave this game alone.
Yeah, and there's no picking the Eagles. I feel like there's no actual value betting it because you don't really. I don't want to play the spread game. And picking the money line is that they think the Eagles are going to win too, very heavily. So I'm going to bet a
Mhm.
lot to win a little. So I don't
Right.
feel good betting it straight up, but I'm gonna throw it on the parlay. So this will give me my three-team parlay of the Chiefs over the Dolphins, and then we're gonna have the Packers or
There
Cowboys
it
over the
is.
Packers. Yep, that's gonna be the one that messes it up, and the Eagles over the Bucks.
Yes, sir. I'm right there with you. Like I said, I got my set a little different. Like I said, like I said, I take KC with that one little buffer, and then the Pittsburgh one. Like I said, I'm still leaning on the Green Bay. I'm still leaning on that one. If I am to add that third one, if not, I'll do just the individual, probably individual straight up on all three. and just do a side note parlay, make it a two legger maybe. But that's just feeling of the moment. You got to see how it is. You just got to feel it out. The only thing I'm sure about, though, like I said, folks, I pick Kansas City to win, and I'm picking Rasheed Rice to score a touchdown, and that should net straight off the gate. Because, like I said, if anybody's going to get in the end zone, it's going to be him. Maybe Travis Kelsey. Maybe he finally gets into the end zone for the first time since what, week 6, 7,
Yeah, right. He's
8,
got to eventually.
whenever it was. Good night.
Yeah,
Anyway,
man,
folks,
it's a wild
it's
one.
hard to, yeah, dude, it's hard to contemplate that this man ain't been dancing in the end zone all season, it seems like. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, I wouldn't put any parlay money on T. Kelsey, but Rasheed Rice is your man in this game.
Yeah, yeah, I like that pick too. And man, a way Hardman played, it almost makes you want to risk it for the biscuit there. But it's
Mm,
better to leave it alone because realistically, he's probably not going to get very many targets.
mm-mm. And that should be the case because, anyway.
Yeah, that's
Ladies
desperation
and
time.
right, ladies and gentlemen. Uh, we're pretty much short on time here. We're hitting the capsule mark here, and we just want to say that we appreciate y'all rocking with us and rocking with our picks here. And don't feel, I mean, said don't feel. Don't forget to put your comments, your picks in the comments and stuff, and let us know who you got going forward and everything. What your playoff bracket looks like. Let us know what you think about the bets we say we should lay down, or why maybe we should touch other bets that we say we shouldn't. So check us out. Check all the content. We love y'all. We appreciate you, Mr. KC.
Yeah, don't forget to hit the sports phone line too. If you want to have a message played on
Oh
our
yeah,
call-in show, that phone number is 813-816-0755, and that'll get you into the Bold Sports Show where we're live every day on Rumble,
right.
enjoying putting out new content and excited to talk to you guys. So if you want to reach out and share your hot sports take, don't be afraid to text in or leave a voicemail, or if you're lucky, catch us live.
Exactly. Big shout out to our Rumble family. Big shout out to YouTube. And as always, make sure you tell your friends, like and subscribe. It only helps us out, help us reach more people so we can keep doing what we're doing. We can get more people in here, more opinions, more conversations, because that's what we're here for. Once again, this is the playoff review picks. We're gonna be back at you this weekend with some more updates. I'm that dude with the beard. He's Mr. KC. And as always, let's go Chiefs.
Cheese. What about them cheese?